Sadanam Shri Guru Shri Jata Padakamalam Shri Gurung Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitang Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vidangscha Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Jaya. Hari Bol, text number 42. Dasya Sakya Vatsaya Jai Shingara Chari Prema Chatur Vidya Bhakta Iyadhara. 4 kinds of devotees are the receptacles of the 4 kinds of mellows in love of God, namely servitude, friendship, parental affection, and conjugal love. So 4 kinds of devotees are the receptacles of the 4 kinds of mellows in love of God, namely servitude, friendship, parental affection, and conjugal love. Nija nija bhava shabe shrestha karimane, nija bhave kare Krishna shuka asvadane. Each kind of devotee feels that his sentiment is the most excellent. And thus in that mood, he tastes great happiness with Lord Krishna. So we are seeing everything is perfect. Everything is the complete fulfillment of the heart of the devotee in that mood. And he cannot see that anything is better than that. And that is true. But when there's taken from another point of view, from the point of view of the different levels of rasa, then we will see that there is a difference. Tatastha iyamani vichara jayikari shavarasa haite shingare adika madhuri. But if we compare the sentiments in an impartial mood, we find that the conjugal sentiment is superior to all others in sweetness. Purport: no one is higher or lower than anyone else in the transcendental relationships with the Lord. For in the absolute realm, everything is equal. But although these relationships are absolute, they're not in some kind of relativity which is concocted by the mental plane in this Mayic plane. There are also transcendental differences between them. Thus, the transcendental relationship of conjugal love is considered the highest position. And I heard a talk yesterday, Srila Guru Maharaj was saying that wholesale Krishna is only there in the Madhura Rasa, and really only there with Srimati Radharani. She can give wholesale Krishna because Krishna belongs to her. That is the position of Madhura Rasa. It is the Mool Rasa. That means that all other relationships are actually included there. Jatotara, and so he said that in other rasas, which are under the jurisdiction of Nityananda Balaram Nityananda, Vatsalya, and Sakya and Dasya, those are all under their jurisdiction. They can give Krishna, but only not the full Krishna, he is only there with Srimati Radha. So Madhavista Rupa Radha Hridaya Mandire. My highest form, my real form, my full form is only found in the temple of Radharani's heart. Tatotana masao svada visheshola shamya sham visheshola samayapi ratuvasannaya svadvi pasate kapikas yachit. Increasing love is experienced in various tastes, one above the other. But that love which has the highest taste in the gradual succession of desire manifests itself in the form of conjugal love. This is a verse from Srila Rupa Goswami's Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu. Ataeva madura rasa kahitara nama Swakiya parakiya bhave dvividha sangstana. Therefore I call it Madhura Ras. It has two further divisions, namely wedded and unwedded love. Parakiya bhave atira sera ulasa brajabina ihara antyatra nahivasa. There is a great increase of mellow in the unwedded conjugal mood, a great increase in mellow. Such love is found nowhere but in Braja. Brajavadu ganera e bhava niravadi taramajye shri radhaya bhavera avadi. This mood is unbounded in the damsels of Braja, but among them it finds its perfection in Sri Radha. Prodha nirmala bhava prema sarvotama krishnera madhurya rasa asvada karana. Her pure, mature love surpasses that of all others. Her love is the cause of Lord Krishna's tasting the sweetness of the conjugal relationship. That is from her transcendental affection. And of course, Mahaprabhu has come to taste that full rasa. Ataiva se bhava angikara kari siddhilena nija vancha gauranga Shri Hari. Therefore, Sri Gauranga, who is Sri Hari himself, accepted the sentiments of Radha and thus fulfilled his own desires. This is the conclusion. All these things we are learning, and the conclusion is that this is what Krishna wanted to taste, and thus he's fulfilling his own desires, not the regulated appearance simply of the Yuga avatar, which, I mean, that's a very great thing, but that is not the real principal reason of Mahaprabhu's descent in this particular Kali Yuga. Any questions about that? Okay. Sureshanam durgam gatir atisayeno panisadam muninam sarvaswang prana tapatalinam madhurima viniryasa premno nikila pashupalam bujadusham Chaitanya kim me punarapi dashor yasyati padam. Lord Chaitanya is the shelter of the demigods, the goal of the Upanishads, and the be-all and end-all of the great sages, the beautiful shelter of his devotees, and the essence of the love of the lotus-eyed gopis. Will he again be the object of my vision? So here he's describing, he is the essence of the love of the lotus-eyed gopis. And as we heard yesterday, some very grievously misunderstand this, that the lotus-eyed gopis are attracted to Mahaprabhu. That is not what it's saying. His essence, his central existence, his very being is that essence of the Brajat gopis. Aparam kasyapi pranai jana vrindasya kutuki rasastomang hitva maduram upaboktam kamapiya rachang svam avavredyutim ihatadiyam prakatayan sadevas chaitanyaktir atitaram na kripayatu. Lord Krishna desired to taste the limitless nectarian mellows of the love of one of his multitude of loving damsels, Sri Radha. And so he assumed the form of Lord Chaitanya. He has tasted that love while hiding his own dark complexion with her effulgent yellow color. May that Lord Chaitanya confer upon us his grace. Texts 51 and 52 are respectively Pratama Chaitanya Shloka 2 and Dvitiya Sri Chaitanya Shloka 3 from the Stavamala of Srila Rupa Goswami. Brava Grahanera Hetu Kaila Dharma Stapana Tara Mukhya Hetu Kahishuna Sarvajana. To accept ecstatic love is the main reason he appeared and established the religious system for the age. To accept ecstatic love is the main reason he appeared and reestablished the religious system for this age. I shall now explain that reason. Everyone please listen. Mula hetu age shlokera kaila abasa ebe kahi shesh lokera arta prakasha. Having first given hints about the verse describing the principal reason why the Lord appeared, now I shall manifest its full meaning. So there's a marker here. Did we read all these things yesterday? No.
Yesterday?
We didn't.
We did not.
No. So this marker, I don't know why it's here. Okay. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikruti Hladini Shakti Rasmad Ekamanavapi Bhuvi Pura Deha Bedam Gatauto Chaitanyakyam Prakatam Aduna Tadvayam Chaikyamaptam Radha Bhava Juti Suvalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam. The loving affairs of Sri Radha and Krishna are transcendental manifestations of the Lord's internal pleasure-giving potency. Although Radha and Krishna are one in their identity, they separated themselves eternally. Now these two transcendental identities have now again united in the form of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. I bow down to him who has manifested himself with the sentiment and complexion of Srimati Radharani, although he is Krishna himself. This text is from the diary of Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami. It appears as the fifth of the first 14 verses of the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta. Now Srila Krishna after Kaviraj will explain all these things. Radha Krishna Eka Atma Dui Dehadari Anyonye Vilase Rasa Asvadanakari. Radha and Krishna are one and the same, but they have assumed two bodies. Thus they enjoy each other, tasting the mellows of love. The two transcendentalists, Srila Prabhupada, the two transcendentalists, Radha and Krishna, are a puzzle to materialists. The above description of Radha and Krishna from the diary of Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami is a condensed explanation, but one needs a great spiritual insight to understand the mystery of these two personalities. One is enjoying in two. Sri Krishna is the potent factor, and Srimati Radharani is the internal potency. According to Vedanta philosophy, there is no difference between the potent and the potency. They are identical. We cannot differentiate one and the other any more than we can separate fire from heat. So you can say in that they are one. But at the same time, we have two words. One is fire and one is heat. Everything in the Absolute is inconceivable in relative existence. Therefore, in relative cognizance, it is very difficult to assimilate this truth of the oneness between the potent and the potency. The philosophy of inconceivable oneness and difference propounded by Lord Chaitanya is the only source of understanding for such intricacies of transcendence. We really can't wrap our heads around it. We simply have to honor that and worship that. In fact, Radharani is the internal potency of Sri Krishna, and she eternally intensifies the pleasure of Sri Krishna. Impersonalists cannot understand this without the help of a Mahabhagavata devotee. The very name Radha suggests that Srimati Radharani is eternally the topmost mistress of the comforts of Sri Krishna. As such, she is the medium transmitting the living entity's service to Sri Krishna. Devotees in Vrindavan therefore seek the mercy of Srimati Radharani in order to be recognized as loving servitors of Sri Krishna. Any questions there? Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally approaches the fallen conditioned souls of the Iron Age to deliver the highest principle of transcendental relationships with the Lord. The activities of Lord Chaitanya are primarily in the role of the pleasure-giving portion of his internal potency. The absolute personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is the omnipotent form of transcendental existence, knowledge, and bliss in full. His internal potency is exhibited first as Sat, or existence, or in other words, as that portion which expands the existence function of the Lord, Sat. When the same potency displays full knowledge, it is called Chit, or Samvit, which expands the transcendental forms of the Lord. Finally, when the same potency plays as a pleasure-giving medium, it is known as Hladini, or the transcendental blissful potency. So Sat, Chit, Ananda. Thus the Lord manifests his internal potency in three transcendental divisions: Sat, Chit, Ananda. So that's Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. These three divisions are completely, those words are parallel, and they describe the potency of the Lord in three divisions: cognizance, understanding or consciousness, knowledge, and fulfillment or transcendental joy. Say dui aka ebe Chaitanya Gosai, rasa asvadite donhe haila akatai, Now to enjoy rasa, they have appeared in one body as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Iti lagi age kari tara vivarana jaha haite haya gorera mahima katana. Therefore I shall first delineate the position of Radha and Krishna. From that description, the glory of Lord Chaitanya will be known. Radhika hayera krishnera pranaya vikara swarupa shakti hladini nama jahara. Srimati Radhika is the transformation of Krishna's love. She is his internal energy called Hladini. Hladini karaya Krishna ananda svadana Hladini radwara kare bhaktira poshana. That Hladini energy gives Krishna pleasure and nourishes his devotees. Srila Jiva Goswami has elaborately discussed the Hladini potency in his Priti Sandarbha. He says that the Vedas clearly state, quote, only devotional service can lead one to the personality of Godhead. Only devotional service can help a devotee meet the Supreme Lord face to face. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is attracted by devotional service, and as such, the ultimate supremacy of Vedic knowledge rests in knowing the science of devotional service. So that's an important paragraph. It is very conclusive. There are many paths that one can become, you could say a little bit deviated in the Vedas. And Srila Vedavyas fully mentions this in the Srimad Bhagavatam. You say, now in this Srimad Bhagavatam, now I'm going to really tell you what I'm trying to say. So he's saying, but here it's clear that devotional service is the goal of all knowledge. In fact, it is what knowledge is. What is the particular attraction that makes the Supreme Lord enthusiastic to accept devotional service? And what is the nature of such service? The Vedic scriptures inform us that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, is self-sufficient, and that Maya, nescience, can never influence him at all. Therefore, the potency that overcomes the Supreme must be purely spiritual. Such a potency cannot be anything of the material manifestation. The bliss enjoyed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be of material composition, like the impersonalist conception of the bliss of Brahman. Devotional service is reciprocation between two, and therefore it cannot be located simply within oneself. Devotion must mean two, the devoted and the object of devotion, the receiver of devotion. That's the very definition. Therefore, the bliss of self-realization, Brahmananda, cannot be equated with devotional service. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has three kinds of internal potency, namely Hladini Shakti, or the pleasure potency, Sandhini Shakti, or the existential potency, and the Samvit Shakti, or the cognitive potency. So again, Sandhini, Samvit, and Hladini. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram.
So these potencies that we're reading, Hladini, Sadhini, and Samvit, are Satchidananda, have a relationship with Satchidananda?
Yeah, Hladini is existential. Not Hladini. Sandhini is existential potency, means existence. Sat. Sat means existence, or truth, or what is eternal. It's existing, but on the plane of reality. So that is what is truth, what is real, what is eternal.
What is always truth.
It's always there. Mm-hmm. Then there's samvit, which means cognizance. There is, knowledge, you could say, or knowing. There's a knower, and there is what is to be known, and then there's fulfillment. There's the happiness, joyfulness. That is Hladini Shakti. Sat Chit Ananda. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has three kinds of internal potency. In the Vishnu Purana, the Lord is addressed as follows. O Lord, you are the support of everything. The three attributes, Hladini, Sandini, and Samvit, exist in you as one spiritual energy. But the material modes which cause happiness, misery, and the mixture of the two do not exist in you, for you have no material qualities. So she's considered a separated potency, the Maya potency. But Krishna is still saying, Devi Hesha Gunamayi, that this potency is mine. But this is not part of the internal reality. Hladini is but at the same time, one can find Krishna. It is a very wonderful thing, and I want to start compiling some verses which are describing the fact that we are not trying to get out of this material world as though the objects of the senses are the problem. So this is a very, very important point for us. Sudarshan's always talking about it. I've learned a lot from that, and also seeing many, many, many verses and talks that are, and even songs by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that we will find the Lord behind everything. It's not that the external potency means these things around us that are attracting us. The attraction is a subjective thing. And the misunderstanding is a subjective thing. It's in consciousness. So anyway, we've spoken about this and discussed these things very, very much, but it is an important point. That through all these things, we will find the Lord. Hladini is the personal manifestation of the blissfulness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by which he enjoys pleasure. Because the pleasure potency is perpetually present in the Supreme Lord, the theory of the impersonalist that the Lord appears in the material mode of goodness cannot be accepted. Do you understand that? So the impersonalists are saying, well, this, Vishnu, Krishna, they're just, they're material manifestations, but in the mode of goodness. It's like the theory of accepting half of a hen. It's just like, anyway, it's not logical at all. The impersonalist conclusion is against the Vedic version that the Lord possesses a transcendental pleasure potency. Transcendental. It is not this material world. So we have to get out of this material world, and then there'll be nothing. When the pleasure potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is exhibited by His grace in the person of a devotee, that manifestation is called love of God. Love of God is an epithet for the pleasure potency of the Lord. Therefore, devotional service reciprocated between the Lord and His devotee is an exhibition of the transcendental potency of the Lord. transcendental pleasure potency of the Lord. The potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that always enriches him with transcendental bliss is not material. But the Shankarites have accepted it as such because they are ignorant of the identity of the Supreme Lord and his pleasure potency. Those ignorant persons cannot understand the distinction between impersonal spiritual bliss and the variegatedness of the spiritual pleasure potency. The Hladini potency gives the Lord all transcendental pleasure, and the Lord bestows such a potency upon his pure devotee. The Lord bestows such a potency upon his pure devotee. Prabhu, I have to get a Kleenex, I'm sorry.
Okay, I can get it for you.
Could you?
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyway, we can stop here. This Jaya Shri Chaitanya Charitamrta ki Jai. Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj ki Jai. Srila Om Vishnupad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Of course, these are really, very high topics in there. Well, what I mean to say is that they're very much inconceivable topics. Excuse me. Thank you. And so a lot of the time, we can apply our intelligence. Otherwise, why would our gurus and Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj, why would they be giving us this information if it has no? We cannot in any way have a touch of that. So we are applying our intelligence, and our intelligence is becoming purified by such an effort. But we can't. But that is not going to. That is to give us impetus to practice devotional life. And we cannot control through our intelligence or understanding what will descend into our heart. That is not the purpose of it. But we are worshiping such a thing, trying to apply our intelligence to understand such a thing. That is devotional life. It is, that is part of our practice, and it's necessary. We should try to understand these things. Otherwise, we can get swept away by some misconception. Taking one thing to be another. Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrta ki Jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj ki Jai. Srila Om Vishnupad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Okay, continuing Sri Upadesamrta.
We don't have that version of the Upadesamrta online.
Pardon?
This Upadesamrta, we don't have it online, do we?
No. I'm not sure why. I could actually but in terms of the verses, they are certainly online. But this book is not available like that. And I've thought about that also, because sometimes I want to just, click onto it if I'm sitting somewhere waiting for something. And I want to, but you can certainly put the verses in your phone, or if you're out, then you can, and you can also record them. You can record the verses, and for example, if you're going for a walk, or if you're, sitting somewhere waiting for something, and you can listen to the verses and continue to memorize them. So that's good. And I also refer to Srila Prabhupada's Upadesamrta. That is online. And
the Nectar of Instruction?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Nectar of Instruction is really a tiny little book. I do That I have on my phone. Could you do me a big favor?
Yes.
You give me that? I want to wash my hand. Thank you. Jai Shri Upadesamrta ki Jai. Jai Srila Rupa Goswami ki Jai. Haribo Shri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga ki Jai. Srila Bhakti, Srila Om Vishnupada Bhakti Rakak Sri Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. So we're continuing to read the beautiful talks of Srila Guru Maharaj with regard to the 10th verse. So we're on page 288. Mr. Gandhi observed the difference between the ant and the elephant. If you give an elephant standard of food to an ant, then a lack of ants will be fed by that. But if you give an ant standard of food to the elephant, it will be finished in an instant and felt to be nothing. Radharani is an elephant standard eater, and all others are ant standard eaters, almost. But in the infinite, there is no question of any want. As much as you can try to satisfy your fullest thirst or hunger. So to hanker more is the qualification. This is a really fine point. There's no question of want, so go on increasing your hunger, increasing your thirst to drink nectar. There's no satiation point where there's, everybody has what they, okay, I got that. Oh. Everyone is happy with their mellow of relationship with the Lord, but that does not put it into a static position. There's always an increase of surrender, always an increase of hankering, and always an increase of satisfaction. All of these things are constantly increasing, but the standard of Srimati Radharani is the essence. Eka bindu jagat dubai. Krishna said, one drop is sufficient to quench the thirst of the whole world. This is a partial acquaintance with the infinite. One drop is enough to satisfy the whole, but the most voracious eater is Mahabhava Swarupini Radharani. Both the qualitative and quantitative difference are there in Radharani. She is supreme. An ant may be satisfied with both a lower quantity and quality of food. So in the case of an elephant, both the quantity and quality of the food should be improved. In the case of the Vaishnava world, higher hunger is in terms of both quantity and quality. If you want to make a small construction, earthen or wooden materials may be used. But when you want to make a big construction, then iron and other harder materials are necessary. Earthen constructions may break down, and wood constructions may last for some time, but metal constructions will withstand the challenge of durability. In this way, greater quality as well as quantity is found in the hunger, lolium, hankering, of Mahabhav. Radharani is thus known as Mahabhav Swarupini, she in whom sacrifice reaches its zenith. The highest standard ever represented in eternity is found in her. Her sacrifice, self-giving or self-surrendering, are beyond all the standards ever known to the world of Scripture. So those who really want to know what is the essence of the Scriptures needs to go straight to Mahaprabhu. And those great souls who are representing Mahaprabhu, their instructions, tat tat karma pravartana, those are what we are trying to follow, their instructions for our life and everything. Radharani is known as Mahabhav Swarupini. She in whom there was a scholar named Dr. Dinesh Sen who wrote that in Indian religious history there are so many ideal examples of chaste ladies. There was Sati, who could not tolerate abuse of her husband by her father and immediately gave up her life. So that's, of course, Sati means the wife of Shiva, who at that time was known as Dakayini, or this daughter of Daksha. But when Daksha abused Lord Shiva, she gave up that body that was connected with him, that was connected with Daksha, when he was offensive to Lord Shiva. Then there was Savitri, who by her pure penances was able to bring her dead husband back to life by hurts. She walked. She had so much potency of her austerity and her sacrifice and her affection for her husband that when the husband left and was taken away by Yamaraj, not for punishment, but he is taking him away, she's going along, and finally he's giving her one boon after another, and finally by this way she got her husband back. Then there was Damayanti, Kunti, Draupadi, and so many other ladies who led the most pure lives. But when the ideal is set by Radharani, entered through the door of the Brahma Vaivarta Purana into the world of religious literature, all other ideals became pale. Her intensified affinity for loving service could never have been imagined by anyone. Any question about that? So there is these gradations. Gradations have to be there and understood. Or we'll make mistakes. In our calculation, there will be mistakes for certain, because we don't know. We have to hear these things. Srila Jiva Goswami has pointed out that throughout the whole of Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukadeva Goswami did not take the name of Radharani. Why? Because in that assembly were scholars who were more or less acquainted with some of the theistic principles of the Shrutis, and Sukadeva did not like that they would hear her name, but not appreciate her name properly. So he did not take her name in the assembly. And we're also very, very shy about that. We're not speaking about Srimati Radharani in the assembly of people generally. Or even amongst ourselves, we're very, very careful. And that conception will be somewhat whatever we can grasp. But we're not always. Every time I say the name of Srimati Radharani, I feel some feeling, should I be saying? I've written a poem about this. Yadamya Mahima Sri Bhagavatya Katayam Pratipadam Anubhutang Chapyala Alab Dabideya Tat Akila Rasamurte Shyama Lila Valambam Madhura Rasa Dhi Radha Padmam Prapadye. Sorry, I didn't read that properly at all. The highest aim of Bhagavatam is to establish Radha Dasyam. So everywhere, everything is meant to be preparatory for that. Because this is the goal and conclusion to be established by Bhagavatam through so many tales and stories of devotional things, the presence of Radharani is there at every point. Still, her name is not mentioned anywhere. Everywhere, every word is used only to prove her noblest position, but still her name is not expressly used there. Tad akilam rasa murte shama lila valambang. Krishna is the Akila Rasamrita Murti. All sorts of ecstasy are combined in him. All sorts, meaning every sort. And the main avalambana, the main support of Sri Krishna and his Lila as the Akila Rasamrita Murti is Radhika, because she is Madhura Rasadhi, the source, the fountain of all Madhura Rasa. Radha pada padam prapadye. So I surrender myself to the holy feet of that Radharani, who is the only support, the gist, the all in all, the whole life of him, the Akila Rasamrita Murti, who consists of every sort of high rasa, ecstasy. So Radha and Krishna can never be separated. They are one, and they are separated in the sense of relationship, of certain play, both combined and separated. There is divine rasa going on, in both forms. But one is of one character and one is of another character. But they're not. You can't fully understand Krishna without an understanding of Srimati Radharani's position. We have to know this. She is the source of all relationships with Krishna. She is the source of all rasa. All of them are coming from her. She is the supreme servitor. Others are expansions of her in Madhura Rasa, but also that Madhura Rasa is Mool Rasa. It is the root of all other rasas. So we have, you could say finished, although we're never finished, but we've finished this beautiful talk by Srila Guru Maharaj. It's a series, various talks, but coming together here in this purport by Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. Jai Srila Guru Maharaj ki jai. Srila Rupa Goswami ki jai. Prabhu, can you give me some kartals? Hari Harai Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Shri Advaita Chandra Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Das Raghunath Hey Jai Gosai Gauri Charanavanda Jai Te Vignana Savistapura Jai Gosai
Jai Gosai Jaram Mohitarada Dasavara Padarenu Mura Panchagrasa Andira Charana Sevi Vakta Sanivasa Janame Janame Morai Avilasa Jai Gosai Jave Braje Koilabas Shri Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakasha Anande Bolo Hari Vaja Vrindavana Guru Vaishnava Parima Jai Jamana Shri Guru Vaishnava Para Padma Koriyasa Hari Nama Sankirtana Kohe Narutamadasa Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jai Gaura Hari Bol.
Jai Saparikashi Shri Guru. And this is, by the way, this is High Dave on the floor. Playing the floor.
Playing the floor. From the floor.
Jai Saparikashi Shri Guru Gaurachandra Ju Ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ju Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindra Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Rakak Shri Radhe Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mata Charja Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Sad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Saparshad Sriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Saparshad Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakund Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Tadiya Sakamat Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mission Ki Jai. Kol Kartal Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Samaveda Vaishnava Mandala Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Jai Srimati Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Nittai Gaur Premanandi Haribo. Jai Gurudev Ki Jai. Dandavat.
Hero says, thank you for everything, including the daily to Krishna Katha.
Oh,
And
Jai
also,
Gurudev.
would like to know about the price, the value for sermons of the Garden of Devotion, the different.
yes, thank you for reminding me. Thank you for reminding me, Quill.